everyone doing tonight? What we're gonna do is we're gonna just do a little bit of an introduction, then the webcam is getting shut off. Why? You should be. I hate groups. I hate groups. Because these two should be like perfectly level with each other, but they're not. See, now they look level on my stream, but not on my OBS. So I'm actually going to be playing with the timer this time on stream, because what we're going to be doing is going over just about everything in there. I'm going to explain one thing that I'm not going to physically demonstrate this time. I'm going to do that probably next week, maybe 2 weeks. But this is going to be a complete beginner's intermediate guide. One thing I do want to say is explanation Phasmo in Twitch stream chat will give you the information for the overlay, which is attached to the cheat sheet. I don't use the cheat sheet for knowledge. What I do is, because Nabu has some mic issues, it's just easier to sometimes communicate with that, as it has a shared journal. So if you're playing with multiple people, you could do it. But for beginners, it's also a great way to learn the ghost traits. It's a great way to learn about the force evidence, which we're going to talk about. We're going to go over each tool, each ghost, the map layouts, how to use the overlay, how to play, some strategies, hiding spots, looping, difference between the tiers and equipments, secondary equipments versus primary equipments. We're going to go over all of that. So that's what we got planned today. I'm going to shut off the webcam, that way it's got a bigger, clear picture. I have chat disabled, I have notifications disabled. If you guys do hear during it, like, a bang, a scream, a whistle, some stuff like that, it's because of store redeems. But I thought I've turned them down. We'll see how it goes, though. So let me pull this up. That's not good. We'll see how that goes. What? I'm trying to have the overlay actually work right now. I think we're good. What we'll do is we'll shut off the dramatic, non-spooky, spooky music. Okay, so, the way the actually, I guess I could pull up the overlay. We're gonna do... So there are two ways to get to this. There's through the GitHub and through Zero Network. I would recommend using Zero's network, as he's the creator of it, and I think it's just overall better to give support to the creator of it. So let's try and add this so we could go over this a little. We're gonna do window capture. So this is the actual cheat sheet. Let me do this. There. So over here you've got the default amateur, intermediate, professional, nightmare, insanity, and then apocalypse 3 mode, as well as you can do customs, which then allows you to set how many pieces of evidence you're playing on, its hunt range, and all of that. This little moon, there's a special weather, which is called the blood moon. It rains blood. It's got a red moon. It was for the Halloween event. This automatically will apply that setting for that weather, because the ghosts do get faster in that weather. They're more active, all that stuff. Um, and what this allows you to do is, if you look over to the ghosts, you can see that every single ghost has 3 pieces of evidence. Except for on this cheat sheet, it actually lists the mimic with a 4th piece. This ghost orbs, this is the one thing I don't like about this spreadsheet and cheat sheet, is it lists the ghost orbs as evidence. The mimic does not actually give ghost orbs. You will see ghost orbs with it. It's an ability being used, which means they're not even constant. They can randomly appear here and there. It's ability. As well as the second ability is to copy another ghost. So I wish that was removed, but one thing is, when you do check ghost orbs, the mimic does stay, where in your journal it does not. It also gives you a little sound thing that tells you about the speed. So 1.7 meters is the standard. You hear me and now we talk about the speed of the ghost a lot when we play. It tells you what sanity it hunts at. If there's 2 numbers, it's because, it's has a condition to hunt. So like the mare, it depends if the light switch is on and off, whether if it's 40 or 60. It gives you its tells, its strengths, its weaknesses, its abilities. One thing I will say is, not every ghost strength is a strength, and vice versa with the weakness. I wish they picked better wording for it, but I learned all this information for using this. I don't even know when this officially came out, but they've done several updates for it. Zero does an amazing job maintaining it. Like I said, just to be able to click this and have a blood moon event activated, it even puts like a little red tint on the screen where you see blood dripping. It's phenomenal. You also have a tools tab. This has a smudge timer, a cooldown, and a hunt. I'll go into all those later, as well as a dial for what you play as the ghost speed. If you choose something like Apocalypse 3, it'll automatically preset it to all these settings. Where if you do custom, you then have to manually set it. It also does have beats per minute finder to measure the ghost. So convert those beats per minute to the meters per second in game. And it will show you all this. Now, one thing is, all ghosts that have line of sight will have this little eyeball icon here. And that shows that it has line of sight. And what that means is, any ghost that's normal speed and has line of sight will go from 1.7 meters per second to 1.85 over a gradual piece of time. It gains 0.5 every second and a half, I think, second. And it'll end up speeding up. The only exception to this is the Jinn, which will go from 1.7 to straight to 2.5, but only if the breaker's on. There are some ghosts that do not have line of sight, such as the Hantu is a good one. Does not have line of sight. The Fae does not have line of sight. That there are a few. A Raiju does have line of sight, but it gets really messy because it speeds up when electronics are near it. So that's the board. We'll reference that a little bit, the cheat sheet this time. I'm not going to pull it up anymore. But at the bottom of the cheat sheet, which I guess I should have shown this, but I'm not going to. Under the links tab, you can do a share journal. So create a code and you share that code with your friends. It also has a desktop link code, and you can run both at the same time. the desktop link code will always be the capital letter D as in dog, L as in lucky, dash, and then 5 numbers. That is what will pull up 3 overlays for you. The 2 you see on my screen, and then the sandy one. The sandy one's a little buggy. I'd never use it. I actually don't even use this leftmost one right here, with the circle and the timers up there. How do I want to... I think I want to make these light again, because I typically play with them on light in mode. And of course you can blend these to your own liking. I basically do them like transparent. Lighten. There we go. Get a little bigger. There we go. Another thing you can always do for the timer is use, if you're streaming, OBS's timer, or Steam now has a built-in timer if you're playing on desktop. Timers are going to be useful during hunts. I said earlier that every ghost has its, like a trait, a tell. Most of those are learned from the hunts and stuff, so that's why I would recommend, especially if you are new, go ahead, try and learn it, but there's no shame in doing this. Everyone makes mistakes too. It still happens to me. You're going to have, 10% of the time where you make a mistake. 10% of the time where the ghost is just bad and you're unlucky, and then the rest of the time you're actually going to be good, especially if you're using the sheet. Now, if you're me, you also have, the 50% of the time where you just don't trust your knowledge and gut. So when you first log in, you'll choose all your controls, leave them to default, whatever. By default, J is for the journal, and it gives you all this. It gives you, a list of, like an index basically, on where everything is. Items, it talks about how, you get paid, reward multipliers, perfect games. Cursed possessions, there are 7 cursed possessions. They can help you with your investigation on finding the ghost. But they are at a cost of, you possibly losing the game by death, the ghost killing you, or during a sandy, penalties, stuff like that, being blind, all kinds of stuff. And we'll get into that later. And it gives you a description of each, and it tells you what its effect is. So you have a haunted mirror, a voodoo doll, summoning circle, music box, tarot cards, monkey paw. Mine's blank because I've never picked them up on my new account. But when you play on Sunny Meadows, the full thing, maybe even the restricted, I don't know, I don't play restricted. If I play it, I play the whole map. You'll see the little monkey paw tags, and they basically tell you what to wish for. And Ouija board is the other one. Gathering evidence, it tells you what all the evidence is. So you have EMFI, spirit box, freezing temps, ultraviolet, ghost orbs, ghost writing, and dots. Those are your 7 pieces of evidence gathering tools. Each ghost, except for, of course, the mimic, will have a combination of 3 of these. Case, when you're in here, this information will be filled out. It will tell you what case number you're on your current account, the name of the ghost, whether if it responds to on Spirit Box to people who are alone, people who are together, or it does not know. That is the most common way. Keys to the house, possible vehicle keys, stuff like that. And then each game will have optional objectives. Photos. This is going to be changing in the next major update, but currently you can take 10 photos. The more centered and more clear the thing you're taking a photo of, the higher the star is. So you can get photos for different things such as interactions, picture of the ghost, ghost writing, the cursed objects, dirty water, salt footprints, UV, stuff like that. And the more centered and more clear those pictures are, the higher star rating you'll get. And I'll go into that on how that contributes to your reward. over here is your actual evidence tab. So when you check this off, this is actually a perfect opportunity. So no ghost has EMF, ghost writing, and ghost orbs as a combination. So when you get to these two, and this is kind of where the cheat sheet helps in, because it'll automatically cross this out. Because those two can have a combination. But when you're going through them, see, ghost orbs get crossed off mimic, because this only lets you choose 3. After that, it doesn't let you do anything. So like, even if I choose, these are the 4. No, wait. Spirit box. Those are the 4 for mimic. It still doesn't let you choose it, but second you take ghost orbs off, it lets you choose it. Ghosts, you can then click on any of these. They are all hyperlinks that bring you to a future page. Like Spirit will bring you to page 25, Wraith will bring you to page 26. But it'll keep this page here throughout all of these, so that way you can easily change. These give you its strengths, weaknesses, and what the 3 types of evidence are. And that's it for the ghost, and then you have your pause menu. For your settings, let me turn this back up because I was starting my stream. Just making sure. I always recommend doing like 175 to 225 depending on your computer for your brightness. If your computer can handle it, do the shadow resolution very high, and your aberrations I recommend turning off for video settings. The reason why they have text in here is because under the voice recognition, you can swap to text, and what this lets you do is, if you do not have a microphone, or for some reason you cannot speak, things like the spirit box, monkey paw, Ouija board, stuff where you're talking to the ghost and interacting with it using your voice, it'll give you text drop downs, which is nice. You can change your sprint, whether if it's toggle or hold. I recommend hold because it's not infinite sprint unless you play with that saying, which basically nullifies your thing. I've been waiting to do this for a while, but you can change what your cursor is. I'm going to just change it to a simple dot. I'm going to leave it as the hand, but you can, once again, change it to any of the others. You could change the color, player colors, all that stuff. Alright, come on, let me... Oh, it's no longer a slide. You used to be able to slide it. Oh well, good enough with that. We'll see how that goes. And all that. Under audio, this is where you can choose whether if it's voice recognition, toggle, or push to talk. I'm going to be doing single player, so I always recommend, if you're doing single player, push to talk. That way, if you're talking just in the background, the ghost doesn't pick you up. And then controls, this is where you just set all your controls. Statistics will have all that, blocked players, all this stuff is pretty simple. So, how you actually win the game. So, all you need to do to technically beat a round is go in the house and figure out what the ghost is, either using its traits or evidence. For new players, it's most likely their evidence that they give. For more advanced players, it might be a combination. Experts, it's usually just the traits, because sometimes that's even faster. That's all you need, is to figure out the ghost, survive, and leave. To get higher money, what you want to do is get more pictures, and the more pictures that are 3-star, the better. If there's 0 stars, you'll get nothing. 1 star, you'll get a little. 2 star, you'll get 1 more. 3 star, you'll get 1 more. Interactions are rated at the lowest. Pictures for how much your money. Ghost pictures, burnt crucifix, stuff like that are worth higher amounts. All that can be found on the wiki. I'm not going to go into the actual numbers and all that. But that will determine how much you get. photos are not calculated in the reward multiplier, and we'll go over that at the end of our first game. Each optional objective, which will be, use one of the smudge sticks to smudge ghost, take a photo of the ghost, detect on EMF, whatever. There's several objectives. You'll get 3 randomized. Those will contribute. Each one of those are worth a set amount of money. If you complete all the objectives, all the photos, and find the bone, which I'll talk about next, it'll give you a perfect game multiplier, which is a huge multiplier. And even if you're playing with only like a ×3 difficulty, you can get up to almost 2,000 points. Now, when you start off, you'll have only level 1 equipment. I was forced to prestige, so I lost all my good stuff. My friend made me do it. So you start off with just level 1 of just these top items. This is your stuff that allows you to gain evidence. There are 7 evidence gaining tools, and then the flashlight. As you level up, you'll unlock more. They do cost upgrades, so when I reach level 49, which will be next, we'll unlock the tier 2 headgear. It'll probably cost like 3,000 whatever to upgrade this, and then it'll cost 60 per headgear I buy. There are stuff called consumables, and you can see that right here with the non-infinite sign. What this means is if it's used, it's gone. You have to buy another one even if you survive. The stuff that does not have consumable symbols, like the sound sensor, you will only lose it if you die. Well, I shouldn't say that. You'll only lose it if the player who purchased it died. Each player has their own money. In the shop, you can find your level and money in the top right-hand corner. Your equipment manager is where you decide to load the truck. So you can select an item that you have some, and then click the plus sign or minus sign. They also do have a loadout. As you prestige more, it allows you to unlock more loadouts. Like I said, I wasn't focused on prestiging. I stayed over level 100 for a little while. And then you can set it with what tier you want and how many you want. And it will load the truck for you. We're going to just go into single player. And this is, like, if I was to go now into equipment manager, you can see, like, I can take out the crucifix or whatever. The solid squares is tier 1. The split squares are tier 2. And the split squares with line are tier 3 items. Whoever's the host, it will automatically put whatever tier they have selected or max tier they have unlocked for the primary items, because the truck will always load these items for free. So whoever's the host, it will automatically default to that. When you are playing single player, you obviously probably don't want to bring 4 headgears, because you're not going to need them. You're probably not going to need 4 lighters, maybe 2, because they're not infinite, but all of that. To this other panel, you have all your different maps. The only one that changes, whether if you're on single player or multiplayer, is Sunny Meadows. This is the biggest map. The skull is for the Apocalypse challenge. When you're playing multiplayer, you cannot do the Apocalypse challenge, so the skull disappears. But other than that, it's the same. So we're going to just select Tanglewood, and as we get into the game, it'll be more. I'm going to go with the basic amateur mode, but as you level up, you unlock more of these. I don't think... Oh, I do have Insanity unlocked now. And then they have challenge mode stuff, too. Challenge mode is very important for beginners. Especially, there are some really easy challenges. Basically, you complete the challenge, and 3 times. Doesn't even have to be in a row, but in the set 7 days. And you gain the money you do for that round, which is ×1 multiplier, plus $5,000 after the 3rd one. The custom settings, you can basically make it whatever, and it tells you your reward multiplier, which is based off of its difficulty. Amateur, This is for new ones, as you see, ×1. Intermediate is ×2. Professional is ×3. Nightmare is ×4. When you start getting into Nightmare and above, they start hiding evidence. So every ghost, like I said, will give you 3 evidence. If you play on Nightmare, they'll only give you 2. The Mimic will give 2 plus ghost orbs. In Sandy mode, it's just the same extreme. They'll hide 2, only give 1. Mimic will give 1 plus ghost orbs. But they also limit things like you have no cursed possessions on the Sandy. There's like only 1 hiding spot, really. The room, the ghosts will always have a favorite room and stuff. So another thing is, on that overlay, they have a tab for the maps. And if you're running the desktop link for it, by default, I think it's M. If you hold the M key on your keyboard, you'll get like a transparent almost map pop up on your screen. And it has little tiny blocks for you to count the squares. And those squares are 1 meter apiece. So we're going to just hop into this. We'll start off with the amateur, just so we've got plenty of time. It has lots of setup time. 5 minutes, 300 seconds. So the ghost won't be doing anything for a while.
Alright, we're here. Let's look at the equipment and prepare a coordinate before starting the investigation.
This key is always for the house. This keypad is what will allow you to get out. So you have 2 sides of the wall with this divider here. This right side, this is your evidence gathering equipment and your flashlights. So starting with these 2 where my cursor is, that's, I know, a little hard to see now, but oh well. With the rainbow lights, this is your EMF reader. The first light does 1, second light is EMF 2, all the way up to EMF 5. Photo cameras, this should be nice and easy. This blue one is your thermometer. This is not only good for finding freezing temps, but will allow you to find the room, because the room will typically be colder. You have spirit box when you ask it a valid question. How old are you? Where are you? Stuff like that. When you're inside the map, the X will light up. We go to options. This is what I meant by the text stuff. So you can go, are you friendly? And as you see, it actually registers it's a valid question even though I'm not inside the house. The ghost will light up when you have a valid response. I'm going to turn that off because unless I'm messing with friends like Nabu, I don't use it. This book is the ghost writing book. The glow stick is for the ultraviolet. They end up turning into flashlights after. Of course, these are your huge flashlights. This is the dots projector. Oh, it's not going to let me place it. Once we place one inside, you'll kind of see. Oh, can I? Oh, yes, you can hang it there. I thought they used to be next to each other. Of course, this is your video camera, which you'll use to see ghost orbs. You can see dots in person, except for one ghost. But you can also see them through the video camera using this monitor. So there's only one camera pre-built in, and it's on the outside of the house. But as you place these 4 cameras around, you'll be able to toggle using the mouse. And you'll be able to toggle between night vision and standard with the spacebar. Tripods are in case you don't have any place for the video cameras. They are considered an optional equipment. However, they put it on this side because their sole purpose is for the video cameras. On the left side, you have your optional equipment, which will help you through your journey or even help identify ghost traits. The first thing is your optional flashlight / video camera stuff is your headgear. Your tier 1 is basically a video camera. Tier 2 would be a flashlight built in instead of a video camera, and tier 3 gets rid of both those and replaces them with night vision instead. These are your motion sensors. As the ghost walks through it, it will give off a signal, which can be, you'll see a low green bar here, and when the ghost walks through it, it'll turn red. Next to that, you have the parabolic microphone. This will pick up ambient sounds as well as the ghost sounds. One ghost does give particular ghost sounds in this device, so that can be a giveaway. And then, of course, you got your trusty friend, the crucifix. Any ghost, as your sanity, which can be seen on this board, starts to drop, the more you're inside the house, the more you're in dark rooms, the more you interact with the ghost, the more this will drop. We talked about this a little bit when we pulled up that cheat sheet. Most ghosts are typically 50% sanity, and lower they'll hunt. There are some ghosts that are different. Um, if a ghost tries to hunt you within the range of a crucifix, each tier crucifix has a higher range. Um, the crucifix will burn. Tier 1 has 1 use, Tier 2 has 2 uses, Tier 3 has 2 uses. And it will prevent the hunt at the cost of part of it being burned or the whole thing being burned. I will talk about hunting in a little bit, as there's a lot to go with that. These are your sandy medications. Tier 1 is like cough syrup, Tier 2 is pills, and Tier 3 is an injection. This will raise your sanity depending on what you have the multiplier set for it. Higher the multiplier, the lower your reward. Lower the multiplier, the higher your reward. But this will recover lost sanity if needed. The lighters are used for campfires in the campground. And candles will prevent sanity from being lowered if you are near them. They're like a light switch. There is a ghost that will, if it blows out the candles 3 times, and then, well, 1 time does nothing, 2 times does nothing, 3 and on, it will start a hunt if it can. Of course, other candles can prevent that hunt from happening on this particular ghost, and then crucifix prevent all ghosts. The incense is also used with the lighter. This causes distractions for the ghost, and the Tier 3 will even prevent it from moving. Salt. This will allow you, if it has ultraviolet, instead of getting a handprint on like a door or a window, it'll allow you to get possibly a footprint when it walks through the salt if you're quick enough and you have a UV ghost. There is a ghost that does not walk through the salt, and we'll talk about that when we go between all the ghost traits. The sound sensors, these are just like the motion sensors, but instead of being seen on the little map, you can see it on this sound sensor board. It will tell you what room it is. Depending on its tier, depends on how much you can enlarge its sound. Tier 1, I believe you cannot enlarge it. Tier 2, which I have, you can enlarge once. And Tier 3, you can enlarge twice, which basically covers almost the whole of a house map. It'll tell you what room it is, and it'll have a bar showing about how much sound. These sometimes do get bugged out and get stuck at like a low level, and they won't completely shut off, which does suck. But that's it, what you have for your equipment. Over here, you have your activity board. So this is my 488 case on this account. The ghost name is Jason Knight. This is what I was talking about in the book when it says overview. So we've got the name of the ghost and it says response to people alone. So if you're trying to get Spirit Box, you have to be alone. The rules for Spirit Box is light always has to be off. But if it responds with people or not with people, or you're unsure, depends if you have to be alone or not. Underneath that in the book, you also saw we had the objectives. So the objectives is prevent a hunt with a crucifix, which we talked about when we went over that. Detect the presence with a motion sensor, which can be seen in the truck. It'll also give off a beep. And cleanse the area using incense, which are the smudge sticks. When you're playing on the easier mode, you can toggle between the different floors in the house. So we see this as a 2-floor house. And it has 2 locations for the power. The first one is like on this upper wall in the middle in the basement. And the second is in the garage right here located by this green box. The red you see on the maps here are windows. The green line is your entry door. The steps kind of show you with arrows which way they go as well. You really cannot tell using this map unless you played a lot, but using, you know, the map overlay or just actually looking at the cheat sheet map, you can tell what rooms are which. So these top left 2 small things and the one right underneath it is considered the master bedroom with this small hallway. If you was to draw a straight line across here to the slant, where my cursor kind of was, down, and then this hallway is all considered the foyer. This little thing above the slant and into this is the living room. Goes all the way up to the stairs. Then you have your dining room and kitchen over to the right. This small room kind of in the middle area is the utility room. Some people call it the washroom, but I think its official name is the utility room. Underneath that, you have the garage. Starting at the bottom left, again, you have the boys' room or the blue room. Then you have the main bathroom above that. And then above that, you have the nursery. And then, of course, the basement. So, you have 13 rooms, I think, in this map. 12 rooms, something like that. The last thing you have in the truck is the activity board. The activity board will show you how much the ghost is being active. If it hits a 10, it's either doing an event, using its ability, or a hunt. Most often or not, a hunt. The chances of everyone being in the truck and it using its ability is very slim, but it can happen. If you ever see a rise and a drop by exactly 5, so 7 to 2, 9 to 4, 10 to 5, that indicates an EMF 5 ghost. So we're going to go in and we're going to bring in a flashlight just so we can see, turn it on. We're going to bring in a thermometer so it's easy to see. The lighter and the head cam are always free items. The head cam rests on your head. The lighter lands, I don't know, your back pocket or something. But other than that, you can carry 3 items. So flashlight, thermometer, and we're going to grab a book just to start off with. EMF is also another good one. Actually, I'll bring, well, it's going to be a while before the ghost does something. Because we have a 3-minute setup time, so the ghost will not do anything no matter what for 5 minutes, 300 seconds. So when you first walk in, it's going to be locked. Most houses that have a garage will have a car key because the ghost can interact with the car and make it go off. When you start on amateur, the breaker will automatically be on and you can just turn on lights. I always recommend turning on... Well, that was fast. So as you see, I got an EMF 3 here because... So 2 because it touched something, and 3 because it did something else. We'll go into the actual EMFs in a little bit. So, happy I brought the EMF in. As we see, it's 15 degrees in here. 20 degrees. This is all part of the living room, as you see with this carpet. So this was the line I was talking about that goes right here. 22. 21. Oh, it's not getting cold. I'm going back into the truck to check something that I know with the traits. So as you kind of see on the activity board, it was being more active. Depending on the size of your house, depends on how many light switches you can have. Being in the dark will lower your sanity, but if you have too many lights on, you'll die. So like these closets is a good hiding spot. Once again, as you ramp up the difficulty, you'll have less and less hiding spots. So here's the bone. This is the rib cage. Taking a photo of it will count as a photo. You need to actually pick it up, and I'll show that in a second when we actually do pick it up for it to count. Where is this ghost? So when you're playing on the lower difficulties, I guess we can use this once we actually find the ghost. You get a cursed object like we talked about, or if you're doing custom settings, you can choose which cursed object, or have it randomized. We have the haunted mirror, which will tell you the ghost room. Where are you? Touch the locker again. Yep, so it just took a while to cool down because the breaker started on. So it is in this room. So we'll leave all this. I always recommend, like I said, having light spots that go onto a hiding spot or a looping spot if you feel confident you can do so. Like this is a good looping spot. You move the same speed whether if you're crouched or standing. But when you're crouched, there's a chance that you break line of sight easier, especially with the island and stuff like that. So we're going to grab a spirit box, a photo camera, and a book. Now the garage is, for new players, probably one of the more difficult rooms on this particular map just because of the size of it. Your crucifix will not protect you on the whole thing. So I'll put the book down. Where are you? Oh, lights off. Where are you? How old are you? Are you here? Are you close? Oh, push to talk. Are you here? What is my push to talk key? Oh, yeah, it heard me. How old are you? Are you close?
Was taken away.
So as you saw there, the light lit up, the ghost light, and the X lit up when I was listing questions, and it said taken away, which indicates that it is spirit box as an evidence. So I'm going to take a picture of the mirror and a picture of the bone. When you go pick up the bone, it will actually disappear. So we've got the main door key, the car door key. These are the keys we found. I'm going to show you how the haunted mirror works. I think the haunted mirror and the voodoo doll are probably your best bets for cursed objects when you are starting low. Because the haunted mirror is the only one that will guarantee give you the ghost room. So we're going to grab both these and that. And the voodoo doll will give you interactions which can lead to the ghost room at lower sanity costs. So as you see, there's like this ring that appears. This is the effect that the object will take in. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to place a book over it for interactions. I'm going to do the same thing on this side to try and get the whole room cost. So this is what I was talking about with it interacting with the object. So it interacted with the car, and because we grabbed the car keys, we can shut it off. So once again, we got EMF level 2. 3.5, so it is getting colder in here. On this easier difficulty, here, I'll actually go in the truck to show you this. On the easier difficulty, the ghost cannot move rooms. On the higher difficulty, the ghost can move rooms except for one of the particular ghosts. So we're still currently sitting at 94% sanity. And as you can see the breaker and stuff. The longer you look in this, the more your sanity will drain. And if you look long enough, or you run out of sanity, it will break. So, because I only looked for a little, I only got a little bit of a drain. But that confirms that it is in the ghost room. So we're going to grab some salt to try, because there's only one door in the breaker and lockers, which is decent, but they're kind of, you got to be fast. With the salt, I think, is sometimes more reliable. You can stack the salt like this and then rapid click to get multiple pictures. Or you could spread them out. And if you spread them out, you have a higher chance of getting UV, of course, because the UV steps, it's not because they're spread out and there's more piles, it's because there's more places for it to walk and there's a chance for it to be spread out or not. Like if it walks all at once, the timer that the fingerprints or footprints are going to disappear will start. And we're going to set this up on a tripod, where if you spread them out, it's maybe only walk in one. I should have spread it out further in that case, but I did not. So you can toggle the night vision mode stuff from here as well. So it has not stepped in the salt yet. I think it's more on this side, to be honest, because I've heard it play with the lockers. So this is the dots projector. Actually, I'll put it here. You will see a ghost model kind of walk through the dots. And it'll have like that greenish outline. And when you see that, that means you have dots. So I'll kind of show what it looks like on camera, even though I still have the lights on. So it's not going to be as clear. But see, with the mouse you can toggle. On the higher tier tripod, you can change the direction it looks in. So I'm going to set it to there. We're going to grab another one and set it up on the other side. We're also going to grab a candle. So candles are very good because every time it blows out a candle, you'll get an interaction picture if you take it fast enough, as well as it gives you sanity. Well, it doesn't give you sanity, it keeps your sanity from going down. So we'll do this. We'll light the candle. I'll grab my flashlight. So I walked in that salt almost instantly, so I'm going to grab my UV. And see, we got pictures of footprints. So grab my candle. Oh, see, they disappeared. So we also know evidence ultraviolet. We'll go put some over here too. So I blew out the candle, and as you can see, we have the EMF reader going off. Photos. So we got footprint, interaction, the bone, haunted mirror. So it shut off the light. No fingerprint on the light though. Did I get it fast enough? So we have a phantom. And I know that from the ghost trait. The ghost disappeared as soon as I took a picture of it, and it didn't appear in the picture. Which is one of the phantom's traits. So we got all of our pictures. So what we can actually do is go to the ghost and go to the phantom and see that its last objective is dots. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually shut this off. And we're going to go inside and you can look for it in person, but I'm going to look for it on the camera. Might have helped if I push that dots back a little further. I'm gonna take pills just now, and of course I brought this stuff with me because I'm an idiot. So, because it threw something, it gave off an EMF of 3. So that singing thing where it stood in this corner is because it was considered a ghost event. Actually, I'll kind of show off the overlay now. What we'll do is we'll put it like this. That way it's a little easier for you guys to see. So if you were to go to the shared journal, we have Spirit Box. So as you see, it kind of highlights the ghost on there. And we also have UV. I don't typically play with this left side. So that leaves Poltergeist, Mimic, and Phantom. I guess theoretically it might not be a Phantom. It could have been a mimicking Phantom. So what are our temperatures? 1.2, so it's not freezing yet. I'm going to grab this and look for ghost orbs. You can see them on the truck, but you can also kind of see them in person. There'll be little floating balls. You gotta just make sure you don't mistake it for rain or snow if you're in a part that's outside or not fully covered, or by a window, or your freezing breath. Now, just because you have freezing breath does not mean it's freezing temperatures. It just typically means you're in the same room as the ghost. And a lot of people mistake it saying that is the ghost room. It just means you're in the room with the ghost, or it's hunting and it's a haunted. It just does not want to give me this last piece. Oh, there it goes. So we saw it run right here. So that's dots, which does confirm it as a phantom. And if I select dots on here, you can see it lights up as phantom. Let's see if we can see it again. Jason Knight, do you want to come out and play? So on the book, you can circle a ghost if you think it's it. You can cross it out if you don't think it's it, and leave it blank if you're unsure. When you circle it, that's confirming that that is your choice. So when you exit the truck and head home, whatever you circle is what it's going to read as. Oh, there it is again. So that walking silhouette you just saw there is the dots. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Okay, good, I have nothing. Grab 2 candles and a smudge stick. Hi there, friend. So this is another ghost event. And it broke the light, which means we cannot see well. That was not needed, sir. And we just lost some more sanity. As the Phantom's ability is every single time you hear its heartbeat, you'll lose sanity. So I took pills which put me back up to 100 because I was at it, and then I heard its heartbeat a few times. And I was in the dark for a little, and that's why I drained. We're going to grab 2 more of these and another flashlight just for light. we're gonna open this closet door. Make sure it's a valid hiding spot. Grab this. Now, this is a very bad example. I do not recommend doing this. I might go over here to loop it. It's not as good, but if needed, I will. But when you're looping a ghost, you preferably want to have the lights on. The lights will flicker as you're looping the ghost. So we're going to light these candles. So that should have lowered our sanity to a lot, which should put us in hunting range so the ghost can hunt. How much are we at? Yep. So the ghost can hunt us now, which is its attempt to try and kill you. These are short hunts, so they will not last that long. The higher difficulty, usually the longer the hunts. You'll see lights start flashing from the ceiling in your flashlight. And you'll also see, you'll hear the door close, I should say. I guess theoretically you could see if you're close by it. So this first hunt should fail because I have crucifix in there, as you just heard. So when it does a failed hunt like that, oh, that was a ghost event. That was me being stupid. So as you can see, that one's kind of burned. What I'm going to do is, just in case it does another one of those events on me, I'm going to put this crucifix here to kind of guard me. So Phantom is a stalking ghost and it likes to stalk you. So my sanity's probably none because I just got 2 ghost events, which lowers your sanity, and if a ghost touches you, it lowers your sanity guaranteed. So that random 2 that I was not able to identify earlier, that was Phantom using its ability, which allows it to roam towards a player. We also want to get the objectives done, but after this hunt, I'll go take some pills. Come on, hunt me. So when this game first came out, candles could randomly blow out and you weren't sure. Now it's... See, because it's stalking me, it's just staying close to me. But now it's... If it blows it out, it's either the candle's dead, or it will... The ghost blowing out, which will give you an interaction. You can always tell by the EMF. If it just dies, it won't give an EMF reading. burn that other crucifix. So I started, it was a little late, but ghosts, even if they don't burn the crucifix, can only hunt within every 25 seconds after each other. So this will be a little late, but it's fine. So I'm gonna stand up to get statue. Ghost. So that hunt's over. So phantoms are harder to see. When it's hunting, it closes the front door and locks you in. So you can hide like I did, or you can loop like I did too. Phantoms are harder to see. I would never recommend looping a phantom, especially if the ghost is faster than you. I just took meds, so my sanity will go up. What are our objectives, though? The only one left is the motion sensor, which should be nice and easy. So the smudge timer is very also important. Yeah, that comes 100, nice. So as you can see, sorry I had it backwards, it's a red line, and when the ghost walks through it, it'll turn green. The smudge timer is important because we'll call it 21 and a half of the ghosts will hunt after 120 seconds. No, 90 seconds, a minute and a half. Oh, the ghost did walk through there. So as you heard the beeping, the light would go off though. There are two exceptions, which is the spirit. And the other one is demon. So spirit will not hunt again if you smudge it for 3 minutes. 180 seconds. A demon can do it after 60. So going into the ghosts, we'll just go down the line. Ghost, spirit. These are very common ghosts. They're very powerful and passive, only on attacking when they need to. They defend their place of death utmost to the degree of killing everyone that is caught by overstaying their welcome. So it says its spirit can temporarily be stopped by burning an incense near him. Its evidence is EMF 5, spirit box, and ghost writing. When you, like I said, burn a smudge stick, incense jar near him, instead of 90 seconds, it becomes 180. The whole thing about it being very defensive, it really isn't much. They do have a more common chance of actually being in small houses. Actually, I shouldn't say small houses. I should say the houses. I don't know why. I ran it on spreadsheet and everything, looked into the code. The code never says anything. But I've got other people that said the same thing as well. Shouldn't be, but that's just how it is. That's all about for spirit, really. A wraith never steps in assault. Wraiths are one of the most dangerous ghosts you'll find. They're also known to ghosts have the ability of flight, which is in never stepping in assault. And sometimes been known to travel through walls. So a wraith can actually go through a wall, it's saying, but it's not. What this talks about is its ability to be teleported. So the easy way to know if you have a Wraith is, like, if I was to be here, for me to stand right here and put one of those salt lines right here, right there, and right here. If no salt comes to it and I get an EMF 2 and there's nothing it through or anything, you know you have a Wraith, because just like the Phantom, when it wanders towards you, a Wraith will leave an EMF of 2 when it teleports to you. Once again, they're afraid of salt, means they will never actually step in it. So, for an example, a Wraith does leave dots. So if you put salt on the dots and you see it walk through the dots right on the salt and doesn't step in it, that's fine. You can put salt under a ghost for a ghost event, and if it does not, we're going to be getting to you in a minute, sir. So it shut off the breaker, which turns off all the lights. If you turn on too many lights, it will shut off the breaker, but it will also shut off all the light switches at the same time. So that's a good way to tell if you pop the breaker or if the ghost shut it off. Next is a Phantom, which is what we currently have. A Phantom is a ghost that can possess the living, including fear around it. They're most commonly summoned from a Ouija board. I don't know why they put that. That's not true at all. What they mean by it includes fear around it is when you hear a Phantom's heartbeat, okay, it will drain 0.5 of your sanity for every heartbeat you hear, whether if it's a ghost event or a hunt. And that's why it said looking at a Phantom will drop your sanity faster, is because if you're looking at it, you're most definitely hearing the heartbeat. Taking a photo of the Phantom will make it disappear instantly. So as you can see in this ghost picture, there is no ghost here. There's not even an outline, a silhouette, a shadow, nothing. But it still says ghost. It disappeared immediately. So that's the Phantom's ability. Let me make sure I got this circled. Poltergeist. I think this is Nabu's favorite ghost, not positive. So, its evidence is Spirit Box, Ultraviolet, and Ghost Writing. This is one of the most famous ghosts. They've made several movies about it and everything. It is known to manipulate objects around it. And that causes your fear, your sanity to drop. Poltergeist can throw multiple objects at once with great force. So the objects, for most ghosts, let me just take this. Most ghosts will be like, meh, meh. Or a poltergeist will be like, and launch it. They also have something known as polter pile, which is when you stack a bunch of throwable items. So, like, I take this plate, I throw it here, this, and basically stack everything. Now, when, here, let me reset this. That way we're ready for our next game. When a poltergeist throws an item, you'll lose 2% of your sanity per item that you're near when it does throw an item. So when it does one of the explosions, it will throw all the items, and basically they'll explode. And you'll lose 2% for every sanity. I typically recommend 9 objects, just because you can carry 3 objects at a time, so you do 3, 3, 3, and you'll lose roughly 20%. So it's a big enough drop to see it, but not huge that it will change anything. This is one of the poltergeist pile is one of those abilities that you can see in an activity board reading a 10 when you're in the truck. A banshee. So just like the Phantom and Wraith, this is the third and final stalking ghost. The singing siren, known for attacking its victims through song, has been known to single out its prey before killing blow. So what that means is the Banshee, as you saw on the spreadsheet, has a hunting sanity of 50, but above it it's at 12 and under it's at 87. So for every other ghost except for the Banshee and just assume whenever I'm talking about an ability, I mean Mimic as well, because if the Mimic's Mimic and Banshee, its abilities are activated. Instead of the average sanity, which is all the players averaging, it is a single player sanity determines it, and that's whoever the target is. It will not choose a new target unless the target is killed, the target leaves the game, or it will choose a temporary target if it's hunting and the target is not in the house. However, that temporary target is just for it roaming to it. Oh, that candle's blown out. They also have a unique stream, which can be also heard on that cheat sheet. They have a 1 1/3 chance of doing the parabolic stream. Sometimes it does. I've got real bad luck with it, but I know some people that get like every other. And that's what the weakness is talking about. That's its tell. Just like how that Phantom was sticking by us when we were in the kitchen outside the ghost room, the Banshee will kind of do the same. However, the Banshee will only do it if you're on the same floor, excepting, like, if the ghost room is on the first floor and you're on the first floor, that's fine. Second floor. But if it's on the second floor and you're on the first floor, it will not count. The only exceptions to this are basements and attics for some reason. Don't know why. It's just that's how it's coded. Next is Jinn. So a Jinn can also be a very deadly ghost if you are not prepared for it. So Jinn is a traditional territorial ghost that will attack when threatened. It has been known to be It has also been known to travel at significant speeds. So what this means is when the breaker is on, if it gets line of sight of you, instead of going from 1.7 to 1.85, it'll go from 1.7 to 2.5. Weakness: turning off the location's power source will prevent the Jinn from using its ability. So if you shut off the breaker... Sorry, I thought I just heard footsteps. I was like, it shouldn't be hunting. If you turn off the breaker, it will not do its line of sight speed up. Its other thing is, because it cannot shut off the breaker, is its tell. So because it shut off the breaker earlier, we know it's not a Jinn, even if we had no evidence. Just like if it steps in the salt, you know it's not a wraith. If it uses its ability to attempt to shut off the breaker, it will leave an EMF 2 reading at the breaker instead, or an EMF 5, because it's an EMF 5 ghost. So there is a 25% chance. The way EMF 5 works, and I'll get into this when we go over the evidence, the way EMF 5 works is you'll get a 2 if it does some kind of interaction with you, throws items, touch doors, stuff like that. We'll give 3, and EMF 4 is an event, and EMF 5 is a 25% chance of an either EMF 2 or EMF 3. So instead of giving a 2 or 3, it'll give 5. Your EMF will flash 5 when it is hunting, no matter what the ghost is. That's just because the electronics kind of get fuzzy. But that is the Jinn. The Mare. The Mare is the source of nightmares, making it more powerful in the dark. The Strength. Mare will have an increased chance to attack in the dark. So the Mare kind of straddles the 50% sanity hunting range. If you're at 40%, it can hunt, or if you're at 60% or lower, it can hunt. The way you can tell is if the ghost room has the light on. Sorry, I shouldn't say the ghost room. Because the ghost could wander and hunt in a different room. Just because it hunts in a different room does not mean it changed its favorite room. So let's say it does hunt right now in the kitchen. If the light switch is in the on position, your sanity has to be below 40. If it is off, it's below 60. So even though, like, and it's strictly based off the light switch, so even though this light is broken, the light switch is still on, it would count as an on light. Spirit box, ghost orbs, and ghost writing is that one. Revenant. These are violent ghosts. Their speed is very deceiving, and you'll learn this. A revenant is... So, let me tap it out so you can kind of see it on my screen. Oh wait, I'm used to 150% speed. So I'm trying to get used to 100. So 1.7, like you see around there, that is normal ghost. Where Revenant is a 1 meter per second speed until it sees you. Once it sees you, it'll speed up to 3.0. So it's a very obvious speed ghost, especially when it's in its slower state. Shade. A shade is known to be very shy. Evidence suggests that it will stop all paranormal activity if people are nearby. What this means is a shade will not hunt in the same room as you unless your sanity is 0. I need to make that clear. If your sanity is 0, all bets are off. Now, this goes, even if like your sanity is averaging 5, if it quickly hits 0, just like if your sanity's at 55, if it quickly hits 50, it can hunt still for normal ghosts. Shades hunt at 35% average for sanity. Now, shades are much harder to find, of course, because they do very little things. Ghost writing and blowing out a candle. If you are in the same room as the ghost, the shade should never blow out a candle or write in the book. If you're right outside and looking at it, sure. This is a little buggy. There are still several technical bugs with the ghosts, but they'll never be fixed, probably. Demons are probably the most aggressive ghost for the standard duration of the entire game. A demon can hunt at 70% sanity on average, so significantly higher. If it uses its ability, it can hunt at any percent sanity. There's actually an achievement in the game for... Oh, that one's out too. That's not good. Ooh, this one's out too. Ooh. There's actually an achievement in the game for dying within 60 seconds from a demon's ability. Their evidence is ultraviolet, ghost writing, and freezing temps. That's all there really is on the demon, other than the smudge timer that I mentioned earlier. So when you smudge a ghost, as you see, I just started the minute and 30 timer. That's standard. After 60 seconds, instead of a minute 30, a demon can hunt again. So if it hunts within 60 seconds of being smudged, you know you have a demon. Just because it waits over 60 seconds doesn't mean you can rule out a demon, though. So it's like the opposite, where a spirit will let go for 3 minutes and over. Just because it's over 3 minutes doesn't mean you can rule out every other ghost and it is a spirit. It's just more likely to be. And you'll kind of see if you are using the overlay, you'll see this change a little bit once we hit the 30-second mark. Woohoo, 10 more seconds. I said that a little early, but when I finished it was 10 seconds. So demon hunts over and you see it turns into yellow. As soon as this timer's over, it'll restart at minute 30 and immediately play again for spirit. Now, the same thing is true with the cooldown timer. Like I said, after a ghost hunts, even if there's no crucifix, it cannot hunt for 25 seconds. The demon, however, can hunt within 20 seconds because it's more of an aggressive ghost. So once again, looking at that timer in the top left, once we hit 5 seconds, you'll see it changes too. People say demons will hunt longer. That's not true. Yuri. Yuri is, in my opinion, one of the more difficult ghosts to find, to deal with, especially on a no evidence run. Its strength is often affects people's sanity. And its weakness is smudging. The place of Yuri will trap it temporarily, reducing how much it wanders. This is true, the weakness. The strength is referring to doors. So Yuri can do a double door touch. This is a bad idea. So I'll do like that. Or it'll slam the door, which I really can't do, but that little ball thing, that's important. That's called an air ball. We'll get to that probably in our next game. That way we don't get hunted. Actually, no, we'll get to it next. The Yuri can also close the front door. This only applies outside of events and hunts, because any ghost can close the front door during an event, and all hunts will close the front door. A Yuri can just naturally close the door. When a Yuri closes the door and you are by it, you lose 15% sanity. Which is enough that it is noticeable. It is an awkward amount because when a ghost does an event, you lose 10% naturally. Oh, that's something I should mention. I forgot something. Except for the Oni, which we'll get to. The Banshee is the other one. If you touch a Banshee while it's doing a singing event, it'll drop at 15 instead of 10. But only if you touch it, only if it's a singing event, and only if you're the target, I should say. And Oni is the next ghost. And Oni can never do that airball event. So most people hear the hissing and immediately think it's an airball. The airball is literally just the MS. It's usually accompanied by hissing, but you can have the hissing or deep breathing or growl without that sound. Without the airball, I mean. You can have the sound without it. But when you actually get that airball event, that means it's definitely not an Oni. An Oni has EMF 5, freezing temps, and dots projector. So an Oni is an opposite of a Phantom, I like to tell people. As you saw when it was hunting, you could barely see that Phantom. My sanity must be getting low. Again. No. Just likes stalking me because it's a stalking ghost. So an Oni is like the opposite Phantom. We could barely see the Phantom when we were looping it. It like disappeared and all of a sudden it was right in front of us again. So the way it works is it's kind of if you do a cadence. A typical ghost will be blinking on, off, on, off, where it doesn't actually work this way, but this is the best way I can describe it. A Phantom would be on, off, on, off. It's more invisible than it's visible. And Oni's the opposite. It'd be on, off, on, off. It says Onis love to scare their victims as much as possible before attacking. They often seen in their physical form guarding their place of death. So here's another thing: is a Phantom is most likely to do a silhouette. Like when we first got that picture, you just saw its silhouette, where an Oni is more likely to do a full body, and vice versa, and the opposites are true. And that's why I was a little surprised when we were in the kitchen there at the beginning of the game, and it did a full body thing for quite some time. Onis disappear less often while hunting their prey. We talked about that. The strength is Onis are more likely to active while people are nearby to drain their sanity. So when an Oni does a ghost event, it will drain your sanity 20% instead of 10. So that's the first half. We'll go load up another game, and we'll talk about the second half. Actually, just in case we don't get the cursed item, I'll play with it a little. Maybe did I have to remove it? I forget how to break it on purpose. So as you see, I tapped it out a little bit. It was faint. So the reason why I broke that mirror is when your Sandy hits 0 using a cursed possession, or it is destroyed for one reason or another, or runs out of uses, it will start a cursed hunt. What a cursed hunt is even if, so I'm kind of happy I hunted to prove this to you guys. If a hunt just ended and you have that 26 timer and a curse hunt begins, it doesn't matter. All timers are off bets. As well as it's significantly higher. So that's what a curse hunt is. As you saw, I opened the closet door there to make sure it didn't see me. I smudged so it would be blinded and distracted for a little bit, and then I closed the door again. You don't always have to smudge. I just did it. Oh, not that monitor. Yeah, it's still doing that. So that's like the first half of the ghost. Make sure that we have it circled. Yep. We've got all the pictures. They're all 3 stars. We did collect the bone. We got all 3 objectives, so this should be a perfect game.
Welcome back. I've prepared some jobs for you.
So, on the lowest setting, a perfect game still will give you $600, which is actually quite good. I didn't think it was going to be that high for a perfect game. But as you see, you have the Find the Ghost is always going to be 100 unless you're higher map, stuff like that. There are ways to increase that, but it is very hard. Actually, I don't know. They might fix that. It was like that for a little bit. The Prevent Hunt objective, the motion ones. Those ones are pretty easy ones. This one is slightly harder because you have to be near the ghost, putting yourself kind of in danger. Where the other 2 don't put you in danger at all. The Perfect Investigation bonus is $230. Where like a regular one's like 100, I think, or something. I usually shoot for the perfect almost every single time. And this is the multiplier. So all the stuff above it then get multiplied that. So when I play with Nabu and we do like our times 7 runs, times 8 runs, all this would then be times 8. The bone solid 25 photos. This depends on what you get the photos of, so it can range from, I think, 50 all the way up to 85. And then we got a daily objective done. So actually, it makes sense, about $500 for that. The game summary, it'll say it did an interaction 93 times. It did 10 ghost events, 3 hunts, time in ghost room, time in light, time in dark, total time investigating. The statistics, man, we traveled 2 kilometers that game. Total sanity gained 130%, total lost because we used pills. Phrases recognized was the spirit box, that was 1. Time in ghost room, 11 minutes. Then this is about the ghost. So it walked a little less than me, about 3/4. It moved 57 objects. It used 3 objects, which was the car, because it can't. No, it wasn't a gin. So car twice, breaker once. Doors moved 29. Light switches fluck 2. Fuse box toggle, so it shut off the breaker twice. Interactions 93. We're playing on amateur, so it couldn't change its room. Ability use, this is how many times it wandered towards us. 11 times. Did 10 events, 3 hunts, like I said. So the hunts should have been like 20 seconds, I think. But because it was cursed hunt, it was a little longer than that last one. Time in favorite room. Actually, we only got 1 hunt. So it's 25 seconds, and then we had 40 seconds because it was cursed hunt. Time in favorite room. Spent the entire time in its favorite room, basically. Because it only wandered. And then the bone location was in the bathroom. One thing I forgot to mention was the djinn technically can shut off a breaker. I forgot to mention 2 things on this list. Now I'm thinking about it. There's just so much, guys. Ghosts. So we'll start off with the djinn one. The djinn technically, he cannot go over to the breaker and flick the switch off. But what he can do is, if you have the maximum lights on, let's say 10 for a small house, if you have 10 lights on and it flicks on 9 lights on and it flicks on a 10th, or 10 to 11, whatever it is, it'll pop the breaker. But if you see the breaker shut off all the light switches on, you know that that's not djinn. So just because the breaker's off doesn't mean you can roll out of the djinn. It's very unlikely. The other one I forgot to mention is a mare. A mare cannot turn on a light, and this includes computer monitors and TVs. Other than that, I think that's it. This side has a real lot of ghosts. The other thing is over here, you have your 2 things. So you get Ghost to Walk Through Salt. That's a nice, easy one. We got one left, play a medium map. Use Cursed Possessions. Hear paranormal sound through body. Oh, that's not the challenge mode. And complete objective, so that one's not that bad. We're gonna do another game. We'll do a custom, just so I can show setting up that. So we'll leave that. Drain speed 200. I'll turn that back to normal. Sprinting on, player speed partially on. Ghost. Bit speed 100. Roaming frequency. We'll do change fade room low. Activity board. Grace period. We'll drop you down to 2. Hunt durations high. So before hunts were low, we're now setting it to high. Evidence given, we'll do 2. We'll put this back to 100. 60. Why not? Setup time will give me 30 seconds. We'll leave it raining, sure. We'll just have that start on, because why not? And we'll throw in a cursed possession. That's weird, it doesn't change it. Does 2 change it? Oh. Well, sure, we'll do 3. Why not? So if you are playing with the cheat sheet, this is now when you want to kind of go over and change it. So we're going to change the evidence given. We're going to go to custom. We do 2 evidences. You do hunt high. And did I change the ghost speed? No, the ghost speed's 100. So we can still leave that at 100. But that way everything lines up for you. So I'll do this. And we'll apply. We'll pick a new map. So these top ones, I would say, are the beginning ones. They tell you how many floors and how many rooms they are. Willow Street does have 1 less room. However, its rooms are slightly bigger, which does make it a little harder for, starting players. Grafton is like a spooky farmhouse kind of deal. And then these are some of your 3 floors. I don't know why they put Bleedsdale down here. They did, though. That's fine. These are a little bit of your harder maps, though. I will actually put Bleedsdale up there. Sometimes finding the ghost in that house is just obnoxious. It's got the... So, like, these have tiny rooms, just like Tanglewood does, but they're 3 floors and have way more rooms. Where Grafton has bigger rooms. This has bigger rooms, and the 3rd floor, that's an entire attic. That's the size of the house layout, and that's all 1 room. Sunny Meadows, this is the hardest, once again, Skull, because I'm on single player for Apocalypse. They're restricted, so I was wrong with my original when I was telling Nabu this. I thought when you got restricted, you had the female wing, the male wing, and the center area. You don't. You have the courtyard area. You have the female wing, which is one side. The female wing is the top right half. The male wing is the top left half. There's a hospital wing, which is the bottom left, and the restricted wing, which is the bottom right. So the way the courtyard is it's you enter and you have your main 2 rooms. You don't have any stairways down. And you basically have the entire left side and right side of the middle U, or O circle, I should say. You don't have the back, though. So there are 5 different modes for the restricted, which I didn't know. But we'll go to Grafton Farmhouse on this. We have 3 out of the 7 cursed objects. 5 of which... Ouija board is in the back utility room. Monkey paws in the twins. Music boxes. 5 of which are downstairs. 2 of which are upstairs. Even though this is a small map, you can have 3 locations for the breaker. And I'll show those once we get in. Let's hop in. So I'm playing with 2 evidence on this one to...
Alright, yeah. Take a look at the equipment and prepare accordingly before starting the investigation.
Try and show some of the ghost traits and stuff. We'll see how that goes, though.
Like whoever would be left in a hurry.
I do have this activity board broken, which is fine. They don't add too much but breaking these 2 boards, so they don't work at all. It does add some. So, man, I missed my 4-digit numbers. We have Richard here. We need to cleanse the area near Richard, have Richard do a ghost event with us, and repel the ghost while it's chasing us, which we did last game as well. So looking at the map, here's your first floor, your ground floor. Once again, the red are windows, the green are exits. So there's actually 2 exits on this map, 1 in the back area, 1 in the front. So going from the top area, that top left is the workshop, down 1 room is the kitchen, down 1 room is the dining room. To the right of that is the foyer. And I kind of like this because it shows you the squares. Above the foyer is the living room, which is that L. So the bottom right, both those rooms are connected. That's the twin bedroom. So the main one is the twins' bedroom, and the other is the closet for the twins. Is considered 1 room. This small room, kind of in the middle to the right side, is the utility room. And then the top right, all three of those are considered part of the master bedroom. The top rightmost one is the closet for the master bedroom. On the first floor, the breaker can spawn on the lower wall of that closet, and in the workshop on the left corner wall, on the left side. Upstairs, you enter in. You have an upstairs hallway, which I believe does not include the staircase. I believe the staircase is considered part of the foyer. I'm not positive. I don't think staircases actually are counted as anything anymore. To the left of that, you have the nursery. Above that, you have the upstairs bathroom, because the master bedroom technically has a bathroom, but it'll be just listed as master. To the right of the hallway, you have an upstairs bedroom, and to the left of that is storage, which we typically call an attic, even though it's not really an attic. In the middle of the left wall of the storage, kind of where my cursor is, that is a third location for the power on this map. So we're going to go in and basically do the same thing again. Actually, I don't want you because you're tier 2 garbage. This is the tier 1 headgear is completely useless on solo because you can't look at the camera monitor and be inside the house at the same time to see if you pick up ghost orbs. So for this house, I always recommend these 4 lights, which lights up these 4 main rooms. See what I mean by these rooms are huge? This is a good looping spot. People say this is a good hiding spot, and theoretically it is. Unless the ghost walks on this side of the island, then you're screwed. Back here, oh, and it is back here, nice, is the power. The reason I like looping there is because sometimes you get this mattress, and you can hide behind there. It's blocked off in this case. I just shut the breaker off. I'm so used to it starting off that I just flicked it. It's 20 in here. 20. And I haven't heard anything yet. I'm also looking for the bone as I go through the rooms. So this is another hiding spot. If you're over here though, it can't see you, so I recommend like nestling around this beam. So this is the other exit door. I always recommend having as many exit doors as you can open. That way it's easier to hear if a hunt starts and you're far away from the ghost. You might be closer to the exit door. So monkey paws right there. That is one of the cursed objects. We'll use that a little later. So there's hiding spots. Oh god. Where are my hiding spots on this map? There should be one minimum. Sometimes you can get lucky and have 2. Utility room. Oh yes, here we go. It is not in here though. So this is all considered the same room as this, but once again I'm looking for the bone. These farmhouses always have the most disgusting bathrooms ever. Some people also say this is a good hiding spot. But once again, if the ghost wanders over here, sometimes it can be more difficult. It's weird that shoe got thrown. Oh, actually, I've never paid attention to the shoes in here. Okay, so it's not in here either. So I think we got upstairs ghost. No cursed mirror either. Do we have tarot cards? So no mirror, no tarot cards, no Ouija board. Do we have music box? No music box. That means both of these should be up here. Once again, these bathrooms are disgusting. Oh, hey, we got a skull. That's gonna be a hard picture, but I'll shoot for it. Oh, what was temperatures in here? So, voodoo doll. This is a decent hiding spot. I like this one because unless it fully comes around, it's pretty good. Ooh, yep, it's cold in here. Of course, this is the last room, and that should have the summoning circle too. Which is a very dangerous one. It's easy to get the photo of a ghost with that, but dots. I'm happy we didn't get the mirror though, so I could explain 3 new cursed objects. We'll probably not use the summoning circle, but it does basically what it says. It summons the ghost. It traps it inside the summoning circle for a few seconds, and then immediately starts a cursed hunt. Each candle takes away 20% of your sanity, I think. Yeah, I think it's 20, so you basically need to be at high percentage. It's best to have multiple people do it, actually. I think if you're in single player, it's less. I think it's 15. But we'll see how this goes. So, the poltergeist typically cannot throw if it's ghost writing, it typically cannot throw any items. Sorry, if it's ghost writing, it cannot throw the book. Or if the poltergeist uses the ability, it can throw the book. How old are you? I said, how old are you? Push to talk to me. How old are you? Where are you? Are you close? So this is the summoning circle. How old are you?
an elderly victim.
So we know we got spirit box. Ooh. Which means it still could be a poltergeist. Because it did throw that book pretty fucking far. Ooh, some Sandy was in there. We'll grab another this. Same setup. Not that it can be a Goryo, but if it is a Goryo, it cannot change rooms. Technically, the Banshee cannot change rooms. It's a bug right now, but I think they're going to keep it in the thing. So the reason why the Banshee can't leave the room is because they changed the mechanics on how the rooms changed, and not realizing it would affect the Banshee. So light switches are on, but power is off. Which means it's not a gen. It can't be a gen anyways because we got spirit box. But I'm gonna grab candle and a UV. Drop this all up there. I'll grab the salt next. Smudge stick after that with camera. The reason I did that flicking was to test to see if it's in there. As the mayor can instantly shut off a light switch, like you said, it was afraid of lights. When you turned it on, the egg would just like within a half a second. So Spirit Box is one of the more annoying evidence to get, as it has 11 possibilities. Nope. Give me my lighter back. Actually, I'll leave that there just in case it runs out of fuel. I can always grab another. We might actually use the summoning circle. To do a phantom test. For everyone who watched my last stream, I think it's on YouTube now, not sure, I wasn't paying attention, probably should. Something me and Nabu have been doing is we've been opening the door, throwing all of our stuff in, because the second you open this door, it has the timer starts on when it can start doing stuff and stuff. So, by opening it, you're inviting activity in. Woohoo! Disconnect for the link just happened. Why? poltergeist is an option, so depending on what our second evidence is, we may make a polter pile. It's just always so dark in here. Okay. Grab these last two guys. And another one, because this area is quite big. And it's got stuff blocking and stuff. What sucks is those boxes and stuff, the ghost can, it's so glitched out, they can walk through it, but you can't. Because it's not a wall, but it's a barrier, which sucks. Got one there. Feel like I'm stuck on this mattress, but I really shouldn't be. I'm gonna actually move this dots to here. Move this book to here. Have I not grabbed another crucifix yet? Ooh. Put up both those. Yep, and my overlay got disconnected, guys. So I'm gonna shut that off. Every single time they do an update or something, patch, any of that stuff, it gets broken for like 2 days. So, evidence, spear box, what did I come down here to grab? Oh, I did grab the other crucifix. I gotta find where that is. Uh-oh. With the wood floor sometimes, it's not fun to see him. Oh, it's right there. Disturbed Soul, of course it did. Oh, wait, I'm dumb. I just said count it as Disturbed Soul. So you can delete 2 pictures, which is nice. What? Disturbed Soul. Disturbed Soul. So we have UV. this is gonna be extra stupid sauce. It closing the door like that all the way made me want to think of a Yuri, but it can't be Yuri, so Mimic. I'm gonna do dangerous things. I am just cycling my inventory on how I want it. So you can see the ghost, so we know it's not a phantom, just like our last one. So I think we have a poltergeist, because like I said, I saw Chuck the book really far, and I have not seen orbs yet. So both of them require a smudge stick. We have a decent chunk of our sandy back, so we can afford to make a polter pile. there's a lot of stuff in this room. All these blocks. What am I holding? No, this much sticker, of course. Can you stop rolling? Thank you. Everything solved. So the way the summoning circle works is just what you saw. It summons the ghost, and afterwards it immediately starts a cursed hunt. Just want to make sure they're still in here. I guess we could attempt the monkey paw. Please don't break the breaker. The monkey paw, there are 8 different wishes you can wish for. Each one will cost sanity / effect that you have to deal with. One of the ones you can ask for is wish for knowledge. When you wish for knowledge, it will go here and cross out one of these. You're usually blind / deafened after, but it allows you to rule out an evidence. So if we're lucky, maybe I'll pick ghost orbs. Would you like blowing out that candle? So maybe we'll go do that. Grab this and this just in case, and another one. We'll play with this guy first to lower our sanity. So it's just like a voodoo doll kind of real life, but this one's attached to the ghost. As you prick it and prod it more, it will do more things. And it'll lower your sanity. Of course we get this one. Ghost, 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 ghost. Ghost. Ghost, ghost. Okay. I got unlucky there. Of course, I hit the vital spot, the heart. Yeah, I'll drop that there. So it instantly did the hunt. Usually, uh-oh. Oh no, I can see you there. Kind of phased through the ground. Oh, are you serious? I wish for knowledge. I wish for knowledge. So the reason why you guys can't hear anything now is because, of course, it drains my sanity a little, and it blinds and deafens me a little, which made that hunt harder to do. I was hoping it would cross half course ghost orbs. I had a 1 in 5 chance, but oh well. I still think it's a poltergeist because now it's a little harder, but I still haven't seen ghost orbs once. So, I'm going to go poltergeist. Now, here's the thing. Once again, we're playing on only 2 evidence, so, you know, sometimes if it's not poltergeist and it's a mimic, it was just being stupid with its ghost orbs. As soon as you get back, though, you should have all your sanity back.
Welcome back.
Poltergeist.
I've prepared some jobs for you.
So, once again, we played on a little higher difficulty, so we got a little bit higher of a reward. We never went for the bone. Oh well, but that's after, so it wasn't a perfect game. So, like you said, you get an extra, what's it, $45 times your multiplier for the perfect game, which is nice. It's weird that I just counted the day buy stuff, but I already had that checked off. Okay, about this next set of ghosts. Ghost yokai. You hear this a lot when we are streaming, especially with me and Abu. We talk to it. I go yokai, yokai, yo. Yokais are common ghosts that attack human voices. They can usually be found hunting family homes. That means nothing. I don't know why it says that. Strength talking near a yokai will anger, increasing the chance of a hunt. So, typically, a yokai can only hunt at 50% sanity. When you're talking near it, it can hunt up to 80% sanity and lower. Weakness: when hunting, yokais can only hear voices close to it. So, what this means is the typical ghost when you know, as you saw, I went up there, I pressed my radio a bunch, I had my flashlight on and all that. It came straight to me after. Where a yokai just wouldn't. Its pathing when it's hunting is completely randomized. But its evidence is Spirit Box, Ghost Orbs, and Dots Projector. We're now getting into some of the good ghosts. Hantu. I believe this is the first one on our list that has forced evidence. So if you're playing on 1-2 evidence, one or two evidence. It's either hiding, two or one, depending on what you're playing as. But one of those will always be freezing temperatures. So, for an example, if we're playing on the two evidence run and we get ultraviolet and ghost orbs, ultraviolet, ghost orbs, we know it's a Banshee, Hantu, or Obake. We actually know it's not a Hantu, because a Hantu would have to be ultraviolet and freezing temps, or freezing temps and ghost orbs. But if you're playing on zero evidence, then it doesn't give any, of course. Hantus, their speed changes. They do not get line of sight. Their standard speed is not like the rest either. So, a Hantu at its slowest will be 1.4 meters a second, and at its fastest 2.7 instead of the normal 1.7. Its speed is determined based off of temperature of the room. So the colder the room, the more it'll be towards the 2.7. The warmer the room, the slower it'll be towards the 1.4. Hantus are more likely to shut off the breaker. That is actually a fact. It is in the code. And that is because it drops the temperature of the house. During a hunt, if the breaker's off and you see your breath not in the ghost room, it's a Hantu. When a Hantu is hunting and the breaker's off, every room will have freezing breath. Goryo, if I can select it right. Goryo's strength is also its weakness, in my opinion. This is another hard one with a Yuri. When a Goryo passes through Dot's projector, using a video camera is the only way to see it. So when we were doing our first round in the garage, we saw the ghost silhouette run through the dots. You saw the green little outline. If you see that, you can basically take off a Goryo right away. So we have ultraviolet and dots. See how Phantom's still there like we had before with the dots? But if we saw, we knew it wouldn't be a Goryo. An easy way to tell this is if you have one person in the room and one person in the truck. If the person in the truck sees dots and the person in the room was also looking and they don't see dots, you know you have a Goryo. Actually, I should say, if a person's in the house and able to see dots without being in the room, and a person's in the truck and it does dots and only the person in the truck sees it, you're more likely to have a Goryo. A Goryo will never give dots even on the video camera if someone's in the same room as it. Banshees roaming, like I said, because they target a player, that's why they can't swap rooms currently. It is listed as a bug, but a bug they plan on not fixing, because they changed the way the hunt mechanics work. So the way hunts work is wherever the ghost currently is, it can start a hunt. The way it changes rooms is the opposite. It can only change rooms if it's outside of its normal room, where a hunt can happen in its normal room. So I wouldn't say opposite, it's just that one part is the opposite, I should say. The other condition for it changing rooms is it's not in its main room, and it's doing a long wander. So it's wandering around the house from a far distance. Now this means it can still, wherever the wander ends, if it rolls at the same time to change your room, that's where it is. So if it was in that first room, and it could change rooms, and it was in the garage, and it did a long wander and went to, the front bedroom, but ended the long wander in the utility room, it would change rooms to the utility room still, even though that's a closer room. The Banshee cannot do that because they cannot long wander anymore, because they're targeting a player. The Goryo cannot move rooms because it does not wander. You sometimes will get activity in rooms similar to it. The only exception to this is it can go to the breaker, but it won't ever change rooms still. So those are the only two ghosts that can't change rooms. They might eventually change it so Banshees can change rooms again, but right now Goryo and Banshee both can. Myling. This is why when in that last hunt I put it down just so I could reference it, I put my flashlight down near me. If you have your electronics on you or you are talking, the ghost will find you. So I put it down in front of me. So your electronic equipment will typically start flashing around the 20-meter mark. Or, no, 15 meters. 15 meters, I believe. No, wait. 10. Sorry, there's so many meters. Your electronic equipment will start flashing within 10 meters of the ghost. Typical ghosts, you can hear their footsteps for double that range, 20 meters. A myling you can only hear for 12 meters. So, if your flashlight is not flickering and you don't hear the ghost, but as soon as your flashlight starts flickering because it's so close to 12 and 10, you most likely have a myling. They're more quiet. They are more likely to make sounds on their parabolic mic. They don't have any specific sound like the Banshee does, but they're more likely to make sounds. And Onryo is the next ghost. This is another aggressive base ghost. I like this text because it does point out something a lot of people don't know. The Onryo is often referred to as the wrathful spirit. It steals souls from the dying victim's body to seek revenge. That is the important part that I will get to in a little bit. The ghost has been known to have fear of any form of fire and will do anything to be far from it. Strength. Extinguishing a flame can cause an Onryo to attack. Weakness. When threatened, this ghost is less likely to attack. So what all that means is whether if it's your lighter, a match, or a candle, and if the map has built-in candles, you can use those as well. But the candles act like crucifix for an Onryo. If a candle is lit, an Onryo cannot hunt within the range of that candle. The first time it blows out a candle, nothing will happen. The second time, nothing will happen. From third and on, it will try to hunt as long as another candle or crucifix is not blocking it. That is very important to know. A lot of people think it's every third candle. It is not. It's 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 3 and up plus. The weakness thing is, of course, when there's a candle around it, it is less active except for blowing out candles. The stealing souls. So this is a very important thing I don't think a lot of people realize is when it kills a player, your average sanity will most likely drop because you have less players. The only way it will go up actually is if it kills the person with the lowest sanity. But as your sanity goes down, it blows out more candles. Because it's blowing out more candles, it's going to hunt more. Next is the twins. I wish they would choose better. These ghosts have been reported to mimic each other's actions. They alternate attacks, confusing their prey. I hate this description so much. So the twins is actually not two ghosts. It is one ghost. And it's kind of hard to explain. So, and I don't even think this... Here, let me check to make sure it's not in the cheat sheet. Oh, it is. Okay. So, it is one ghost. It has one hit, like, pin where it's standing. It can do 2 interactions at the same time. One and its standard range, which is 1.5 meters, and the other one, which is doubled, which is 3 meters. On large maps and others where it's extended, the range can go all the way up from 6 to 18. So basically, whatever the ghost's normal range of interacting with an item, it's doubled for the twin to interact with. Um, Now, it also talks about they alternate hunts. They don't. It's not like one then the other then back forth. It's randomized which one comes. Um, Normal speed is 1.7 meters. The twins is plus minus 10%. So if you get a slower twin, it's 1.5 meters. Or if it's hunting and chooses to be the faster twin, it's 1.87. Um, Stuff like salt, motion sensors, spirit box, it only works within the range of the main, that smaller range. Um, so it's a little harder to get spirit box on that. One thing I do want to talk about is if we look at a map like that Tanglewood, the first one. Oh yeah, this is down, my bad. I was going to go pull it up on the screen. But if you look at Tangle Map, the first map, and, you know, you have a ghost, let's say, in the utility room. The hunt is going to spawn either right outside of either the door of the utility room or inside of it. The twin, because it has a bigger range, it could start in the living room, the garage, the possibly even the foyer, but where the closet is, the kitchen, maybe even the tip of the dining room, because it's got that doubled range. Does not mean it changed room, it just spawned. So it is a very tricky ghost. You can look up pictures of this also. They might be on the guide on. They have a guide section on the cheat sheet website. There's twin interaction. So when you're looking at that EMF board, the activity board, as you noticed, it goes up and down, but there's always a plateau in the middle. The twin, it can actually change slopes, and that's it doing two interactions at the same time. But that's its thing. So the easiest way to tell the twin, I don't think, is based off the interaction. It's based off of the speed. So the mimic can also change speeds, but not during a hunt. These are the only two ghosts that change speeds from one hunt to another, but are consistent within the same hunt. But the twins will be consistently one or the other. I've gotten the twins before, and I've had the same hunt be the same speed 4 times in a row, and the 5th one was different. So it might take some time. Next is Araju. Araju is a demon that thrives on electrical current. I don't like the fact that they used another ghost name, but it is exactly what it says. It's an electrical ghost. Araju typically hunts at, normal sanity of 50%. However, if there's a lot of electric equipment near it, it can hunt at 65%. Instead of... So, Rajus have line of sight speed, but it is different. So if it's not near if it's not near electrical equipment, it's got a standard speed of 1.7. Line of sight will bump it up to 1.85. If it is near electrical equipment, it will speed up to 2.5, and if it has line of sight on top of that, it will go to 2.65. But it's... Wait, no, sorry, that was wrong. When so standard speed is 1.7. Its line of sight would make it 1.85 at its highest of line of sight. You take away its line of sight when it is by electrical equipment, so it does not go up to 2.65. My bad. Which means you technically make it slower by making it faster. You take away its line of sight speed up by just generally speeding it up. But that's it. It's a very fast ghost. It's easy to kind of detect because of the speed change in between hunts. There's very few ghosts that do that. The Hantu is another one that does that, but basically if you hear it change speeds in the middle of a hunt, it's a Hantu or Raiju. Next is Nobake. This is another important one. Just like the Hantu has guaranteed freezing temps on 1 or 2 evidence, the Goryo has guaranteed dots on 1 or 2 evidence. The Obake has guaranteed fingerprints or ultraviolet on 1 or 2 evidence. An Obake is a terrible shapeshifter capable of taking on many forms. They have been seen on taking on humanoid shapes to track their victims, track their prey. Sorry. Its strength when interacting with the environment, and Obake rarely leaves a trace. What this means is, if you have your fingerprints set for 30 seconds, it will be 20 seconds. It's 2/3 of the time. There's also a 25% chance it just does not leave fingerprints. At all. Even if it was supposed to, it won't roll it. It just negates that roll. It also does have a chance to leave a sixth finger / footprint. So 6 fingers or 6 toes in a handprint or footprint. If you see that 6 finger or 6 toe, you know you have an Obake or a mimic, of course. The other thing is it talks about shapeshifting. So when we were talking about a phantom and an Oni, we talked about how the blinks are different. An Obake blinks normally on, off, on, off, on, off. However, it'd be like patient victim off, patient victim off, patient victim off, grandma off, patient victim off. For one blink while it's on, it will change shapes, which is very hard to catch. But if you see that, once again, you have an Obake or possibly a mimic. Its evidence is EMF 5, ultraviolet, and ghost orbs. If you're playing with 1 or 2, once again, you're guaranteed that ultraviolet. Up next is the one we've been talking about a lot, because it can take on the form of any of these, is the mimic. It's a copycat. So the way the mimic works is it can change ghost behaviors from every 30 seconds to 2 minutes. So a random roll is ran, and it could be any amount of time from including 30 all the way up to 2 minutes, including 120 seconds. It will act as that ghost for that amount of time. It will copy its traits, its abilities, its speeds, its strengths, its weaknesses, everything. Except for, of course, its evidence. Once it's done, it will re-roll that timer. So, it could be a Hantu for 96 seconds, and then it could be a Spirit for 32 seconds, and then a Poltergeist for 54 seconds. So the re-roll is it. Its strength is, we're unsure what this ghost is capable of. Be careful, because it can mimic any of the strengths. Its weakness, though, is, of course, when it's copying, it copies all the ghost effects, which translates into hunts. So, for an example, if you have a normal speed ghost, and on your third hunt, it's super slow, and then it sees you and speeds up, wait, that was a Revenant that time. You probably have a mimic that was mimicking, a normal speed ghost twice and now a Revenant. Once again, ghost orbs is not listed as the evidence. Your evidence is spirit box, ultraviolet, and freezing temps. It's because the ghost orbs actually are not evidence. It's using its ability. Its secondary ability is to fake the ghost orbs. So if you're playing on 3 evidence and you get 4, you have mimic. Or if you're playing on 2 evidence and you get 3, 1 evidence you get 2, you have mimic. The fun thing about this is because it's not considered evidence. When you are playing a no evidence run and just basing off the ghost traits, you can still get ghost orbs because it's not considered real evidence. Up next is the Morai. The Morai and Deogen are the only 2 ghosts that share forced evidence, which will be Spirit Box. So, what does the Morai do is it's, in my opinion, the most dangerous, deadly, overpowered ghost in all of Phasmo. Sorry, I'm pulling something up. I just don't remember the middle number. Okay. So, sorry, the page X out. So, Morai, it's just like the Hantu, its speed is on a scale. The Morai speed is also on a scale. So, when you're at 100% sanity, its speed will be slightly slower than a normal ghost. It'll be 1.5 meters per second. When your average sanity is at 50%, it'll be at 2.25. So, once it's in hunting range, it's slightly faster than a ghost. Than a normal speed ghost. But when your sanity is at 0 average, it's 3.71, which makes it the fastest ghost out of all of them, even with abilities being used and everything. And it's got line of sight on top of that. So it can then go up to 3.86 at its fastest with the line of sight. Morais have risen from the grave to drain energy from the living. They have been known to place curses on their victims, curable only through antidotes and moving very far away. What this means is when you have a Morai and you listen to it on the spirit box or parabolic mic, it will place a curse on you, which will double your drain speed. And this can stack. So if you get, you're cursed and someone else gets cursed, now both of you are losing at twice as fast. And if you're playing with 200% drain speed, you are losing it twice as fast. So now, if it's just the two of you playing and both of you are cursed, you're now losing 400% of your sanity faster than the normal 100. The moving far away only works on large/medium maps. For medium maps, you basically have to go to the opposite side of the map. For large maps, you have to go, I think it's like 2/3 way, roughly. Or at least, like, the easy one is Sunny Meadows is a large map. You have to go into a different section. And you might have to go to the edge of that section, depending if it was already at the edge, but its evidence is Spirit Box, Ghost Writing, and Freezing Temps. Once again, just like the Hantu, Goryo, and Obake, its force thing is Spirit Box, so if you're playing with one or two evidence, it will always give Spirit Box. The next ghost is a Diogen. The best way I like to describe this is the opposite of a Revenant. A Revenant is slow. As soon as it gets a line of sight of you, it speeds up to faster. Diogen is the opposite. So, sometimes surrounded by an endless fog, Diogen have been eluded ghost hunters for years. These ghosts have been reported to find even the most hidden prey before stalking them into exhaustion. That, I think, is the best description that they could have given this ghost. So, a Diogen constantly senses the living. You can run, but you cannot hide, is its strength. Its weakness is it requires a lot of energy to form and will move very slowly when approaching its victims. Its evidence is Spirit Box, Ghost Ring, and Dots. Once again, just like Amora, it's weird that both of them have it, but it is. And I think that's another bug, but its Spirit Box is forced just like the Morai with one or two evidence. The reason why I think it's bugged is because the Diogen has a unique sound. It's got a breathing / growl, I guess if you want to call it, on Spirit Box. It is the only ghost that can do this other than a Mimic. And if you hear it, you know you got a Diogen. And so I think that's why it's forced, not because the developers chose to give it forced evidence, but because of that. Or it's the other way around and the Morai's bugged because it's got no reason to have it. So, but either way, they both have it. Back to the description. These ghosts have been reported to find even the most hidden prey. When it hunted, one of the times I went into the closet or behind the bookshelf, a Diogen will find you. It knows where you are. It's got a pinpoint, and it just takes time to path to you. The before stalking them into prey, a Deogen starts off at 3 meters a second. If it's on the other end of the map as you, the closer it gets to you, it will slow down even during a hunt. So in the middle of a hunt, it will drastically slow down. And you can just always outrun it as long as you're not backed to the corner. And with a smudge stick, you're guaranteed to beat a Dio. It's probably the easiest ghost to deal with during a hunt as long as you have a smudge stick. And then the last ghost is the Thay. Now, I talked about how the Demon is probably the most dangerous ghost for an overall game. A Thay is the most dangerous ghost for an early on game. So, the way the Thay works is it is a ghost that age, and this can actually be seen on one of the cursed objects, the Ouija board. So they've been known to rapidly age over time, even in the afterlife. From what we've learned, it seems to be faster when it's younger, and within the presence of the living. So its strength is upon entering the location, they will become active, defensive, and agile. Weakness, they weaken over time, making them less active, less aggressive, slower, which means you really want to find your evidence for the Thay as soon as possible to confirm it. As soon as you open that door, a random timer is started, just like kind of the Mimic. This one is between 60 seconds and 120 seconds, including both ends. If it is near a player, it will roll another random timer between 1 minute and 2 minutes. But while it does this, it will decrease its activity by aging 1 unit. Now, this 1 unit I don't think is equivalent to 1 year. I'm not sure. I don't think anyone's tested that. It might be a few years, but it's 1 age bump up. If it is not near someone, it does a 30-second exact timer. And it'll keep doing that 30 seconds until someone's nearby, and then it'll go to the 1 minute to 2 minutes again. Everything about a Thay is related to its age. Not just how active it is, but its speed. So at its youngest, it's 2.75, and at its oldest is 1.0. So if you've got 5 hunts and you've noticed it doesn't change speed in the hunt, because it does not have line of sight either, and each hunt it's slower and slower and slower, you most likely have a Thay. Especially if you've been in the room aging it. But its hunting threshold is also the same. So at its youngest, it can hunt at 75% sanity, which is even higher than the Demon without its build. But at its weakest, it can hunt at 15% sanity, which is half of what a Shade is, which is the Shag Ghost. So those, and that's it. It doesn't have any forced evidence. So those are your 24 ghosts. Your forced evidence is Hantu has Friesen, Goryo has dots, Mimic has fake orbs, Morai and Deogen has Spirit Box, and an Obake has guaranteed fingerprints. Those are your force evidence. Now, going over the ghosts that have, I will just cross them out. I'll leave Mimic. The ones that are still left are your ones that have your speed changes. So if it's normal speed, you basically can cross out the ones that are not crossed out. If it's off speed, you can cross out the ones that do have crossed out. So the Jinns is, once again, normal speed, but once it gets line of sight, if the breaker's on and the player's outside of the 3 meter range, it can speed up to 2.5 instead of 1.7. The Revenant starts off at 1.0. As soon as it sees you, will go to 3.0. Hantu is on a slider scale, but based off of temperature. from 1.4 to 2.7. The colder, the higher speed. The twins is minus 10 or plus 10, depending on which it selects. Um, the faster twin is 1.87, and the slower is 1.53. Araju is normal speed, but it can speed up to 2.5 with electronic equipment. The Mimic is normal speed, but the Mimic actually will never hunt at its normal speed because it's a Mimic. It'll hunt at normal speed because it's copying a ghost with normal speed. The Morai, it's on the slider scale like the Hantu, but for your sanity. A Deogen, it's on a slider scale based off of its distance to you. In a Thay, its speed is based off of its age, which is how long you've been in the room for it. So that's that. Going back to the cursed items, right here. Nope. So Monkey Paw, like I said, there are wishes. I actually haven't gone and grabbed the tags. I used to have them, but I'm not really worried about it. For Monkey Paw, on the site next to, on the cheat sheet, you have like a little hand icon next to all your evidence. If you click that, it actually, like, it doesn't do the red X. It actually smudges out just like it does in the book, and it'll remove all those things, because it will even work with little evidence, which is why I used it with the 2. It guarantees that I wasn't picking a ghost that was it. So your questions you can ask the ghost is, I wish to see the ghost. So the pro of that is the ghost will appear in its current location. Basically like the event, it forces that. The con for it is, after this event, a hunt will start and the player's vision will be darkened for the duration of the hunt. You wish for activity, it will double the ghost's activity for 2 minutes. The con is the breaker will be set to broken mode, not off broken, so it cannot do anything. The other side is it also locks the front door outside of the hunt for 2 minutes. I wish for sanity, average everyone's sanity to 50. So you won't gain more sanity. It's if your average is below 50, you'll set it to 50. If you're above 50, never use this, because it'll lower your sanity. The con is it sets its favorite room to a random room, so it will change its room and increase the current sanity drain by 50%. So if you're playing at 100, it's now 150. If you're playing at 200, it's now 250, 150, 200, so on and so forth. Wishing to see the ghost trapped. The ghost is locked in its room for 1 minute where it cannot hunt, roam, or do any ability. The locked door in the player's room, so both the player would also be locked in the room it's in. After that, a hunt starts after the 1 minute period. 25% of the doors will be unlocked after the grace period. What that means is, on a small house, you find the locked door, you know what the room of the ghost was in. And it's specifically in its room. So even if it wandered to a new room, it'll teleport the ghost to its room and lock it in it. I wish for life. It revives a dead player if you're playing a multiplayer, but there's a 50% chance that the person who wished for it will die. I wish to be safe. It unlocks the nearest blocked hiding spot. It breaks the light in that room, and if the ghost is able to sense or hear a player from any distance. So, of course, the yokai is an exception for it, and the mimic, if it's mimicking a yokai, is an exception to that. But what that means is, if you're on a large map, and let's say you're Sunny Meadows, and you're on, the far left side, if you're talking and the ghost is on the far right side, it still knows where you are now because of that wish. I wish to leave unlocks all the exit doors, and it only works during hunts. So, I guess technically it would work when you wish for the activity and it locks the door for 2 minutes. I'm not sure on that though. But the players slow down and has darkened vision for 5 seconds. I wish for knowledge. It removes one of the knowledges, as you guys saw when I did that, from the evidence journal and crosses out all associated ghosts automatically. The con for it is it starts a hunt, and the player's vision / audio is reduced for the rest of that round. And then they've got two kind of weird ones. They're not weird, but they're different. I wish for weather, and you say what the weather is instead of weather. So I wish for clear, I wish for foggy, I wish for heavy rain, I wish for snowing, I wish for blood moon. I think will probably even work. And it changes the weather to that specified one at the cost of 25% of your sanity. And then the final one is I wish for anything, which chooses one of the 7 main ones. So those are all 8 of the wishes for the monkey paw. The next one is the tarot cards. So it's a deck of tarot cards. We all kind of know what they are. When they're drawn, they each have a different effect that will either affect the ghost, the room, or your team / you. There are a total of 10 cards. The Tower, it doubles all ghost activity for 20 seconds. There's a 20% draw rate on that. The Wheel of Fortune. I know what it does. I'm trying to remember the colors. So when you draw the card, it will either gain / lose your sanity depending on what color it is. I think it's green and red. So if it's green, you'll gain 25%. If it's red, you'll lose 25%. And that also has a 20%, a 1 in 5% chance draw. The Fool, no effect is applied. So you'll see another card, but then it'll burn. And as it's burning, you'll see the Fool card. It's got a 17% draw rate. And you will always draw the Fool if you draw a card during a hunt. The Devil, it triggers a ghost event towards the nearest player or the ghost. If your sanity is low enough and it is an Oni, I think because it will drain your sanity so much, it'll start a curse stun. I'm not positive on that though. It only happened to me once, but I've only been in that situation once. The Death card, it triggers a cursed hunt. So those are the extended hunts. There's a 10% draw chance of that. Next is the Hermit, which also has a 10% draw chance. What this does is it teleports the ghost and traps it there for 1 minute. This does not affect hunts or ghost events. So you need to draw it on like a blank area. Next is the Sun. The player who draws the card will have their sanity restored to 100%. There's a 5% chance to draw into that. On the opposite end, there's the Moon. The player who draws this card will have their sanity set to 0%. Once again, 5% draw chance. And then the 2 rarest cards is the High Priestess. It revives a randomly chosen dead player or corpse. If no one is dead, this card will still work. It revives the next player who dies. It does not stack though. So if you draw 2 High Priestess and no one's died, it's only going to revive 1 player. There's a 2% draw chance on that. And then the last one, which is the rarest, I think it's 1%, but it might be 2. I'm 95% positive that it's 1%, is the Hangman. It just instantly kills you. If you're playing on custom ghost, there's what country should be under ghost. Friendly ghost. Means the ghost can never kill you. It will turn into a Fool card. So I think the Hangman is the only one that cannot do the Fool. Next is, I guess we could just start on the left page this time. Is the Haunted Mirror. You guys saw what that does. Is it shows you what the ghost room is. That is very important. It is not like other stuff that shows you where the ghost could be. The Haunted Mirror shows you the actual, its favorite room, the one that's considered the ghost room. Looking into the mirror will either drain it 20% flat or 7.5 seconds for each time you use it. And 7.5% per second, I should say. Whichever is higher. So if you look at it only for 1 second, it's going to drain 20. But if you look at it for 3 seconds, it's going to drain 22.5%, if that makes sense. The mirror will break when you run out of sanity, or whether by using it for too long, or by attempting to use it with less than 20% sanity. Instead of draining your sanity, it'll just break it. It'll start a cursed hunt, and by the end of the cursed hunt, you'll be at 0. Note, as you guys might have seen it when I used it last time, the light in the room kind of lights up. Like, there'll be like a glowing light that lights up the room while you're using the mirror. If other players are in the room, you can see them. It shows the room as is currently. Next is the voodoo doll. As you guys saw, each pin pressed into it will drain the sanity 5%. If you hit the heart, it will drain it 10%. Cursed Hunt, if the heart is pressed, or if the player's sanity is at 0 when using the doll, a Cursed Hunt will start. Each pin, though, you do press, other than the heart, will cause the ghost to do an interaction/event. It's only supposed to be interactions, but sometimes you get events. So the most common thing is it's going to throw an object, though, or maybe touch a door. Next is the summoning circle, which we also did use. So a player can use a lighter, matches, or anything to light the 5 candles. Lighting all of them will cause the ghost to summon inside of it. It will be there for 5 seconds. After that, you get like a 5-second pause, and then it'll start a cursed hunt. Like I said, I think it's 20% multiplayer and 15% single. Or maybe that's how it used to be. I haven't looked at the most recent patch notion when I updated. I just kind of ignored them to see if they had changed any of that stuff. Wait, no, because it drains. It drains 80%, I know that max. So that'd be 16%. Each candle does 16% flat now, actually, now I'm thinking about it. And then, of course, after that, a cursed hunt will start. If you run out of sanity, it will not let you light that candle. So if you only have, if you're playing single player, 70% sanity, which makes sense now on why I've had trouble with this before. If you're playing 70% sanity, it won't let you lit the 5th one because you can't reach that extra 16%. So instead, you just wasted all your sanity. Next is the music box, which is another dangerous one to use, like the summoning circle, if I am. How it works is it'll play music, and it'll bring the ghost within 20 meters of the music. If the ghost is within 20 meters of the music box, it will come towards it. If the box gets within 5 meters for a normal ghost, or 2.5 meters for the yokai, the ghost will start an event where it'll become visible and walk towards the box. The cost is being within 2.5 meters of it will drain 2.5% of your sanity per second, for a total of 75% sanity. The music box is allowed to be pulled for its whole length. It will do the 75%. A cursed hunt will begin if any of the following happens. So the first thing is a player throws the music box instead of placing it, causing it to slam shut. A player reaches 0% sanity. The ghost event, where there's a chance that the ghost event lasts more than 5 seconds, it will start a cursed hunt. Or if the ghost reaches the player or the box while it's wandering towards it, it will start it. So if the ghost starts wandering towards it, you'll actually see the ghost stop for like half a second on the box, and the box will close. At that time, a cursed hunt starts. Because it drains so much sandy, I would not recommend it for beginning players. They all give little descriptions here, but I think that's definition of it. I've learned most of the stuff. I've looked at some of the things in the game. We talked about payment a little. I think that covers everything. We talked about forced evidence, ghosts, evidence, photos, cursed objects. The only thing other you need to learn is you've got a little community area over here. Ring toss, Jenga, bowling, cornhole, basketball. I'm kind of wishing it, and it didn't bother me until I was watching someone's video and they brought it up. I wish there was a way for me to get my old trophies on my old account back, because I had some. But every once in a while they'll do an event. So like this 2024's Halloween event. This was 2024's Christmas event, which just ended. And by completing the event, you get special ID cards and there. All your cursed objects are put here. I didn't realize this because I swore it used to be different. Maybe I was wrong now. But you only get the cards you draw yourself. And then here's your collection of bones. So this is all the bones. We're actively trying to collect them all again for stream, but we're missing the right foot, this guy over here. And then here's your evidence board. So this shows you the evolution of all this stuff. So, you know, you got up top to your left, you got your headgear tier 1, 2, 3. Same with salt tier 1, 2, 3. Your spirit box 1, 2, and 3. Your lighters from matches, the lighters to zippos, your thermometers, your crucifix, your motion sensors, all your stuff's here for you to look at. And they all have different ranges and stuff, and the reason I'm not going to go over each and every one of these is because it just flat out tells you. So let me choose one that I have all of it. So intensity is low, spotlight is narrow, and it's electronic. It tells you that. So it tells you what items are electronic because you can't have those on. Intensity medium, narrow, there, and then this big one, it's wide, intensity's high. But other stuff like the candles, so tier 1 candles, 2 meters of range, lasts 5 minutes, and reduces sandy by 33%. It is placeable, but it is a consumable, so once you use it, it's gone, even if you light it for only a little. Once again, 2 meter range, lasts for 10 minutes though, 50% reduction. And then this last one, I can tell you it's 2 meters, 66%, and it lasts forever. The lantern. Same thing with, you know, the lighters. So you only have 10 matches per box. The match only lasts for 10 seconds. The lighter lasts for 5 minutes worth of use, but it is still consumable. The last is the Zippo. It's a lot better in just every way. And the Zippo is also waterproof, just like this Firelight is. We also did all the tier 2 head cam is 10 grand, which is a flashlight. So I'm gonna go do some challenges after and stuff. Same thing with the smudge sticks is, you know, you got 3 meters, 5 seconds, and blindness for 5 seconds. This also does slowly goes for 5 seconds to top the blindness, lasts for 6 seconds, and 12 meters. That is something I forgot to mention, is the Morai, it adds time to the instance. So instead of 5 seconds, it's like 7.5. Instead of 6 seconds, it's like 9, I think. The most important ones I tell people are your tier 3 crucifix. It's just like the tier 2 actually, except for it's got slightly 1 more meter range, but it also prevents cursed hunts. The tier 3 salt, because it slows down. It's just like the tier 2 salt you saw, so it's wider range and you get 3 uses. But the tier 3 will actually slow the ghost down during a hunt if it walks away. And the last one is the tier 3 head cam, which has night vision. This coming soon has never changed, just to let you know, and since that button has become available and it's technically not available. During events, sometimes they put a leaderboard here. They just did that for the ending of the Christmas one. And then over here, still need to do it. I've done the APOC 3 with friends that stayed in truck. I just don't do it. But these are all special ID cards. This is all like optional stuff. You do have this ability to customize your thing with all the different badges, different cards. So like, if I chose this badge, I could have this one, that one, that one. These are interactive because the event ones are interactive. Like as you see, this one's kind of stagnant because it was for an Easter egg. Actually, it is interactive now that I look at it. That's nice. Interactive where the other one was just static. But as you prestige, they go up. There's 20 prestiges. Each one goes from level 0 to 100 after you hit 100 in the main screen. In the top right of this board, basically, you can click prestige and it'll reset all your money, all your experience, everything. You just get a new badge. It's good to make sure the game doesn't die out, which I enjoy this game, so it wasn't dying out for me ever. I do different challenges on myself. When I play with Nabu, it's always great to play with friends. We've done custom like 1v1 type stuff. Always keeping it fresh. Try not to use the guide if you're getting bored and learn more for yourself and your knowledge. I referenced the guide a little bit, but not much for this video. I need to get a life, I just realized, because I know so much of this. I'm running late as things are, so I'm going to call it a night here, guys. This will be up on the YouTube tomorrow for people to rewatch. I hope it's a good guide. But I also kind of wanted to just do it as like a normal stream, relaxed. I didn't write anything, no scripts, no planning, none of that. But other than that, stay positive, stay safe, and time's so important. I'll see you guys next time.